All right, well, thanks so much, everyone. I know the after lunch slump can be a little difficult, but I appreciate you all taking the time to join us, and hopefully we'll have some more folks trickling in as we go on. So today we're going to be talking a lot about how Informatica empowers an enterprise-grade foundation for Databricks for both analytics as well as AI use cases. Since we are a publicly traded company, I do have to put up this forward-looking statement, so safe harbor and that sort of thing. And then a quick reminder, it's really helpful to us when you guys complete your surveys after the session and give us feedback on the content. We obviously want to make sure you guys get a lot out of this. Just to get to know the room a little bit, how many of you are current Informatica customers, by just show of hands? Okay, one. Okay, good. So a lot of new folks. And are you, two folks, are you guys on Informatica's cloud technology or some of our older on-premises technology? You're the old on-prem? Yeah, on the on-prem too? Okay, great. All right, well, so the great news is we're going to talk all about our cloud technology, which is what we're 100% focused on as Informatica today. So when you think about Informatica and Databricks, I always like to think in terms of what are the core data management challenges that Informatica is aiming to help address. And we think about your typical data journey to Databricks, there's often a big challenge, especially if you're a big enterprise, identifying where does my data even live, right? I have hundreds or thousands of systems. When I want to bring data to Databricks for different use cases, how do I even begin to make sense of my existing landscape to find the right information? So that's kind of a data cataloging type challenge. The next step is once you're able to find your data assets, then it's, okay, can I extract them from where they live? Do I have the right connectivity? And can I get them to Databricks in the most efficient, performant way possible? And this is a big strength of Informatica's for a long time on connectivity to a wide range of data sources, bidirectional connectivity. But we also have a very deep partnership with Databricks, a direct engineering to engineering collaboration that ensures that when you use connectors from Informatica, you're getting best-in-class connectivity to Databricks. The next challenge often becomes, oh, great, I found my data, I got it out of where it is, I got it to Databricks, but is that data trustworthy? Is it usable? Or do I have data quality issues I need to identify and remediate? Or do I have a situation where I've got sensitive data and I want to make sure my data access policies and rules across my entire enterprise are consistent, but they're enforced within Databricks? I want to look at, in some cases, that data quality and cleansing extends all the way to what we call master data management, which I'd like to think of master data as for cases when your data can't afford to be wrong. Supply chain's a great example, right? If your supplier data is incorrect, it could be millions and millions of dollars of impact to you. So master data really is about taking a lot of complex, disparate, overlapping, conflicting data and merging it into a single version of the truth, right? And last but not least is data governance. And data governance really does become the engine of data democratization is how we look at it, in that governance really keeps track of where data came from, its provenance, its lineage, but also what does it mean to the business? Who owns it? Who works with it? What's that rich semantic context around your data sets that makes them consumable and discoverable and ultimately becomes that kind of foundation for democratizing access and use. So the way we deliver all those capabilities is what we call the Informatica Intelligent Data Management Cloud, IDMC. And IDMC is an at-scale platform, and we process about 110 trillion transactions a month for our customers. So thousands of customers around the world on this platform. And the way the platform works, if you look at the diagram, is we're based on this foundation of metadata. And metadata is kind of a key theme you'll hear throughout the talk today, and metadata becomes a critical enabler of both analytics and AI. And that's at the core of our platform. But on top of that, we have a series of microservices that deliver different data management capabilities, whether it's integration or quality and cleansing or API management, all the way up to that governance and cataloging and master data management capabilities. And on top of this, in the world of AI, we have taken and created a layer of co-pilots and agents on top of all those services. So as you go into the AI world, and we announced these a few weeks ago at our customer conference at Informatica World, we're going to have agents to do things like data quality or master data management to say, clean this data for me, right? And be able to figure those things out using the power of generative AI. So the platform itself, it truly is cloud native. It's offered as a service. It's optimized for multi-cloud and hybrid environments. We assume that data is going to live in different places, and you can manage data processing, data management consistently and efficiently if you have a distributed heterogeneous environment. And because of that, we do have a security by design architecture, meaning that you control where the data processing happens. It's all a SaaS experience, but you actually can ensure that the data remains inside of your environments. We don't ever actually have to see it in our cloud technology. We're dealing with your metadata. and the processing occurs local to where the data is. And then we also have consumption-based pricing. That's another big advantage. When you think about all the different capabilities in this platform, when you look at mixing and matching those from independent software vendors, different pieces, you could be dealing with 6 or 7 or 8 different companies. Informatica lets you purchase a single unit of consumption for data management, an Informatica processing unit, and you can use it across any of these services. So as you need data quality, as you need integration, it's very flexible and gives you that dynamic nature to address your problems quickly. It's also available on 3 cloud platforms where Databricks is as well. So whether you're AWS, Azure, or Google, we're there and we're around the world available. And it really is designed, our goal is to be that complete end-to-end data management capability around the Databricks data intelligence platform to really address your most complex enterprise environments. And when you think about the data intelligence platform, the Databricks data intelligence platform, we spend a lot of time with our product and engineering, probably more so than any other technology partner Databricks has, integrating and certifying our capabilities. Whether it's supporting Uni-catalog across data integration and synchronizing metadata, pulling in deep lineage into our global lineage views with our data cataloging. We have a rich set of integrations, and we really do focus on trying to provide best in class, best of breed, and also being ahead of the game. You'll see some announcements a little later on today about how Informatica has participated with a lot of the announcements you heard this morning in the keynote. Okay, so switching gears to AI. So today we're going to focus on what we call basically Informatica for generative AI. So you want to leverage generative AI, you want to create AI-based applications in your enterprise. How do you do that? We also have a rich set of capabilities we call Claire, which is our AI engine. We've actually had it in our cloud platform for more than 7 or 8 years at this point. Originally focused a lot on machine learning and different techniques to accelerate the business of data management. So there's a whole host of things. This is where our AI agents come in. We have a GPT experience for actually interacting with data management from a prompt. But we're not going to go into that so much today. We're going to talk more about when you want to address your business cases, how does data management play a critical role? So this is a really interesting survey that was done quite recently, a CDO Insight survey about where the state of generative AI is. And an astounding 92% of folks are either, they're basically looking at their pilots that have gone to production, they're saying, wait a second, we're really concerned that we've skipped some important steps, we really didn't solve our edge cases, but we rushed ourselves to production. And only 67%, 67% have been unable to transition those ideas, those new use cases from pilot to production. And frequently data and data readiness is cited as one of the key impediments to getting there. So 56% cite data reliability as a big challenge. And in terms of the top issues that are preventing that pilot to production, 43% ranked data issues as the main reason. And so why is data such a challenge? So when we think about what does it take to deliver generative AI applications for enterprise scenarios, one of the first challenges is that, I take a step back. I think in today's world, the way the public LLMs have grown and matured, and also the complexity and difficulty of creating your own large language models, or even fine-tuning, most customers are using public models, right, for that conversational experience. The problem with the public model is it does not understand your enterprise reality. And where's your enterprise reality? It's in your data, right? So being able to bring your data to the party, so to speak, is critically important. But also you want to make sure you bring trusted data. And we found that master data, for example, customer 360, product 360, supplier 360, actually becomes hugely valuable data for grounding of generative AI conversations. These are highly trusted data. The next challenge becomes, well, these models don't understand the language of your business, right? It could be as simple as your user types in customer. Do they mean a company or an individual? That's very specific to your business, right? Or they type discount rate. Are you a mortgage company or a retailer? Very different context. So being able to bring semantic context, for example, from governance layers to do prompt enrichment, to do summarization, incredibly valuable. It also helps create explainability, right? And better understand the results that are coming back in the descriptions, creates a whole degree of richness to your applications. The third point is data quality and how that plays a role. And so one of the challenges you have when you have hundreds of data sources and you have agents now making decisions about where it goes for data, well, not every data source is created equal, right? So having a good practice around data quality and data quality metadata actually makes the agents smarter. They can tap into that data quality of scores and rules and make decisions about, well, I'm going to take the most authoritative data source, and that's what I'm going to use for grounding. Again, makes the quality of the experience that much better. and that ensures success of the application. The fourth area is deployment, right? So there's a lot of tools out there to build agents, to do agentic experiences, but a lot of them are coding-based. And the problem with coding-based is that it becomes very hard to maintain over time, and it's very hard to evolve. So with Informatica, and Ajay, my colleague here, will be joining me, is going to talk about how we allow for no-code definition of very complex agents and Gen AI application workflows, right, within our platform. And last but not least is governance, right? So again, part of this is explainability and traceability. Another big piece, though, is ensuring that your data access policies equally apply in these types of applications. Just like when you're looking at reports or dashboards and limiting what users can look at, you need to make sure that when responses are being summarized and created, that those are in compliance with your rules and the credentials of that user who's actually interacting with the application. So when we talk about, well, how does Informatica deliver those challenges? The first is helping you prepare that data environment, right? And this is where we provide no-code, low-code data pipelining, data integration technology, supports multiple modes, ETL, ELT, change data capture. We have many modes of connectivity. And because of all those different, and we support about 300 different unique source system types for bidirectional connectivity. But when you look at those 300 sources combined with all the modes of integration, it actually ends up being about 50,000 unique combinations of how you want to move data and get it ready for your application. And this is support for both incremental and initial loading, of course, on an ongoing basis. And I mentioned master data before. Again, high quality master data, it truly is the solid foundation for so many of these applications. And I mentioned a few domains earlier, but with Informatica, we have domains like Finance 360, we have Patient, Provider 360. So we have all these industry models that take a very complex set of data sources and rationalize it down to that clean foundation of data and that represents your core business entities. And of course, we are optimized within our pipelines and workflows to work with Mosaic AI models if you want to take the data that you're bringing in. Some of the data sources you want to vectorize and prepare them for semantic search. So we support very easily integrating that with the services from Databricks for generative AI. Now on the metadata side of things, this is where our cloud data governance and catalog comes in, right? So the cloud data governance and catalog is a combination of two layers of catalog, really. It has a technical view of the world, and then it also has a business semantic view of the world and matches the two together. So that, I mentioned the examples there, bringing that semantic context and leveraging that through our APIs in your generative AI application makes those applications just so much more effective and efficient for end users. And they mentioned also dynamic data set selection. So when we run data quality, you can profile all your data with standard quality rules as well as a whole host of custom and industry pre-built rules. So you can run hundreds of different complex data quality checks to identify where there are issues in your data set, and that rolls up to an overall quality score that then can inform your agents and your generative AI applications. And the other mention also explainability and traceability, right? Again, being able to tap into governance and lineage. So when you present a result with data, you can actually have an experience that says, look, great, I saw the data, can you show me where the data came from? And because you're tied into this catalog experience, you can actually render that. And we do a great example. We don't have it here in today's session, but if you come by our booth, you can actually see, we call our Clear GPT rendering inline lineage to kind of answer those types of prompts. So those are kind of the key things here about the value of having a good governance set of practices really accelerates the ability to deploy AI at enterprise scale. And last but not least is that no-code framework I mentioned before. So this is kind of a visual of what it looks like, but there's a whole palette of controls, whether for Mosaic services, other services, and it really is just drag and drop, as well as we have a number of predefined recipes or templates for very common use cases in agent definition. And Ajay is going to walk you through a much more granular view of how we actually recommend kind of our best practices, our blueprint, if you will, for creating agents and agent-based experiences. Last thing I'll mention is that it's very easy once you create one of these workflows to publish it, but we also have full API management in the platform. So you can put an API in front of any of these complex process flows defining your generative AI application, and that API management actually lets you throttle and govern and rate limit, which is really important when we're doing piloting, controlling costs, and that sort of thing. It's a huge priority for customers as well. So you can very quickly go from an idea and a concept and something that can be iterated very quickly on and get from pilot to a production environment quickly. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring Ajay Golapalli, my colleague, up. So Ajay is our Director of Solution Architecture at Informatica for Databricks, and he's going to talk about our agentic framework blueprint.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Rick. Am I audible? Yep. So one of the things that when I was talking to customers, right, when they wanted to go with generative AI application, they said like, this is what I was talking with the data manager over there. He said like, Ajay, we want to take our data and make it a Gen AI application. But my biggest challenge is, how do I limit the users to see what they can see? Because I don't want to give all my Gen AI data and give it to everybody in the organization the same level of access. But I want same data, most of the data to be repeatable. That's one big challenge, because today's technology, we have solved it by adding role-based access controls, attribute-based access controls and everything. But this is a real life situation that I was talking to him, and then he came back and told me this. It made us, one of the advantages what Rick shared across, right? Not bringing the data, making through the entire data journey with Informatica's Intelligent Data Management Cloud, whether you are discovering the data or whether you are able to add quality and then making it governed, making it trustable and high quality, high fidelity data, and making it easily accessible by your analyst in a day. It is all very easy to consumable for a consumer-friendly enterprise customers. But now with generative AI, the challenge is, how do I use this data? How do I make sure that this application data is easily transferable to my generative AI application in the enterprise? So what we did is, this is our blueprint for agentic framework to be able to utilize the data that you can take it to your generative AI applications. We talk about 3 agents in this concept. The 3 main agents we talk about are the planner agent, the orchestrator agent, and the executor agent. The fundamental approach to this entire model is to use your Gen AI applications, have the trusted, high quality data that's governed to know where is the data coming from. Is this data the right data for putting into a generative AI application? Because sometimes we all have done this in the past. We have the data copied over to Excel sheets. I don't know how many of you do it. I do it. I copy into Excel sheets, add my own insights into the data Excel sheet, and then use the Excel sheet data to give it to, sometimes I give it to Rick. And Rick smells my BS on the data, and then he calls me out. But essentially, what we do is, we want to make sure that, is this the data right data? What we are giving to your management, is it the valid data? Because they are going to make decisions out of the data. Sometimes it's very scary that they are going to make decisions, because your data, if it is flooded with more assumptions, it can go into wrong decision making. So that's one of the things that we use these agents. We have to be extremely careful in terms of providing all the data and applying it on generative AI, rather than you should know what data goes into a generative application, who is accessing it, why are they accessing it, and what is the purpose for them. With this in mind, right, so let's see what the planner agent does. Normally, when you talk about NLP, when you ask a question, when somebody is asking a question in the organization, what happens with the planner agent is the prompt engineering goes back into the LLM itself. It captures and validates the user intent. It's not about just the saying of what I want, but also needs to capture my sentiment. It needs to understand that, hey, is this person the right person asking for this data? So you need a kind of an identity management layer. You don't want to give your financial data to your sales guys. Definitely not. And at the same time, you don't want your CFO to be restricted with not getting his data, what he needs. So you have to make the entire thing in a robust way, that your planning prompt should contain the conversation history. What happened in the past question, is how is it related with the intent of understanding the questions, and also to understand what is the user input, who is the user asking for it, what data are they looking for. Is this the valid data for them? Is it the high quality data, or the low quality relevant current data, or is it the high quality analyzed data? So there are a lot of things that we do in Databricks, especially with bronze layer, silver layer, golden layer. What layer of data goes into your generative AI applications? So the planning prompt understands the intent, it deciphers what the user is asking for, and it provides an API management for filtering out any kind of denial of service attacks and role-based access controls. And also it provides a usage governance. The easiest way to, there's a genie who said like, how do you spend $1 billion in a quick way? Spin up some servers and let it go, or keep it running on any of the hyperscaler cloud, right? So how do you limit the usages? How do you make sure that the models you use are not being asked the same question repeatedly multiple times and you're spending your unknown dollars over there? So that's main idea about the entire planner agent. The agent does all these transactions. It keeps a planner prompt. The prompt contains what systems are onboarded, what data is available for the generative AI applications, what is the contains, who is the user, what identity management do they have the right access. Everything goes in the planner agent. The next one is the orchestrator agent. Orchestrator agent is like the main central nervous system of this blueprint. It understands the metadata information. The metadata, what has been secured and using the governance catalog. Now it provides saying when you say, I want to know what my order is in a supply chain management, it knows order means it has to go into the sales system, order system, instead of not going into a billing system. So there are a couple of questions, so it needs to be able to be intelligent enough to understand based on the user input to go approach which system it has to request the information for. And it also needs to plan based on the planner agent. It needs to know what is the sequence of events that the planner based upon the user input is. The third agent we're going to talk about is the executor agent. These are the worker nodes. These nodes tackle the data. Their main job is to know like what is the filter condition, what is the user looking for, who is the user, what is the role-based access control or attribute-based access control behind the scenes, and how do I get this data for the user. So the entire thing is brought over to say like the planner, executor, orchestrator, and executor all work in tandem to make sure that you get the best response for the question you ask. What we did, right, when I said this, when we put this framework a few months back, and Rick came back and said like, Ajay, show me this works. So what we said is, okay, we'll make it work. We'll show it how it works, because we want to not do a demo of it, like just a demo, but we want to show a real sample deployment reference architecture, not just an architecture, but an entire demo itself. So what we did is we put across a supply chain co-pilot, a real life scenario where we have data coming from Salesforce for orders, where we have an Oracle database coming with the information from supply chain management and a master data management providing parts and components, and a transportation risk report sitting in Databricks. So multiple data sets coming together, forming a complete use case scenario. So think about this like a supply chain analyst in a day. If you go ask a supply chain analyst saying, hey, I want to know what order it is. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go into Salesforce. Okay, orders pending. Get me the orders. And then what they do next, and then you'll say like, hey, what is the order? Which parts does the order contain? Oh, let me wait. I'll go to some different system and get the information. And if you ask him more and more information, they have to go into different systems, which normally takes them a lot of time from a productivity perspective. Now what we did with generative AI is making it enterprise ready for your consumption, for modernizing your analytics into a natural language processing unit. Don't believe me, let's see a demo of it. So the first question I'm going to ask is like supply chain order analyst, right? So I'm going to ask like, what is my pending orders, right? So normally, what is my pending orders, or show me pending orders, the way we do it. So when I ask this question, what's happening behind the scenes, is I said like, show me pending orders. And the system knows that what I'm looking for, my intent is to look for orders. Let me zoom this a little bit. So the system knows that what I'm looking for is orders, and orders should have a status called pending. So the planner understands my intent, my question, and it builds the plan and hands it off to orchestrator. The planner does not know where the system is, where the data is actually located. All that the planner knows is, Ajay is looking for the particular data that is relevant for his needs. And the orchestrator knows exactly, now it's filtered, so this is the front-ending application. Think about our entire architecture frameworks. We don't put our data in the front ends. We put our data in the back end with the MVC patterns. Similarly to that pattern, now your data is not in the front end, but it's available to the front end through an orchestrator. The agent now understands that the question is saying, okay, now the user is asking for orders, let me orchestrate it, let me ask my worker nodes to get the data, filter the data based upon the user persona, and then sends it back again. So now if I dwell deeper into this question, so I'll say, show me details of the product ordered. So when I'm looking for details of the product ordered, I didn't specify what product I'm looking for. It's going to a completely different system right now. It knows from a previous conversation what is the product that's been ordered based upon the order that is in context. So the planner prompt knows what is in context. It understands what is the user's intent again. It understands that the user is looking for the product that's been ordered in the previous question, and it executes. It goes from the planner to the orchestrator back again, and then it orchestrates with, okay, I have to look into the details in the product from a master data management, and it goes to master data management, executes the SQL query behind the scenes, and generates the data for the user. So all this is happening, right? This is all happening based upon the metadata information. It is not happening, I'm not talking to the system directly, but I'm talking to the metadata, and the metadata transports the data back from the original repository into the front end. So thus keeping the entire data secure. That's one of the most important things. So for example, let's say I want to see the supplier. I'm going to click. So when I ask about who is the primary supplier of this GPU, again, as I said earlier, right? So the context comes from various data elements. I could have asked like, what is the storage? Or give me the data for power supply. I don't need to specify what is the product details are looking for, but automatically the 3 layered namespaces brings back the data to show who is the supplier completely from a different system altogether right now. So that is like, think about it. An analyst, if you go and talk to them, it would have taken at least 1 hour for them to fish for this information. Now they're able to do a NLP mechanisms with all the different data elements sitting in your organization. So that's one of the biggest things of generative AI that opened up organizations, is to look for the untapped data knowledge without able to go and search and dig deeper and dive into the repositories. But now it's all in your fingertips. And this all being transported through the Informatica's data management cloud's metadata intelligence. How does it work, right? One thing that I did not tell you is, when you looked at the entire query processing, I'm going to open up this query processing to show you, when I asked this query, it went to first step is to go to the API management layer. It said like, is this person asking it repeatedly the same question? Is asking a relevant question. So if I go back to the same chatbot and then say like, hey, what is the capital of America? Think about it, every single time when ChatGPT came in, our first, I don't know many of you, but I'm guilty of it, saying that the first question I'll ask is like, what is the weather today? And show me the capital of Denmark. And I was asking all these irrelevant questions. But when something new is given to you, you'll always want to play around to know its boundariness. So people do that because it's human tendencies to do that. So when you ask not relevant questions, the system should be able to tell you, hey, it's not relevant to this particular chatbot. I don't want to waste my dollar going into an LLM to fetch what you don't want to know about. So that's one of the things that guardrails that we put across over there in this, in the agentic framework. So for example, if I say, what is the capital of America? I'm being a human being here. I'm not trying to be a technical person. I'm trying to be a normal human being who will ask these questions on any chat GPT interfaces. It'll also tell you saying that, hey, this query regarding what you asked for is not aligned with these functionalities. I'm not going to spend LLM capabilities to give you the information that you are not supposed to get. You can ask any question for that matter, and then it will tell you if it is not relevant to the systems that we onboarded, it is going to tell you that it is not relevant. That is the most important thing. That's what the API manager looks for and communicates it back to the planner saying, is it the right question, the right context, right relevance? And then it goes into makes a plan. That planner provides, for example, which system is looking for information, what is the filters, what is the prompt selectors, what are the different information coming from which supporting system provides this information. Everything gets built within this planner. Similarly, if you look at the next question that we asked, right? Show me who is the supplier of this GPU. Very similar pattern. It goes from the planner makes a plan, orchestrator orchestrates, does the routing of this entire algorithm, executes to fetch the data, and summarizes everything back into a natural language processing and brings it back to the front end. And your front end could be anything. It could be from Teams Copilots, or it could be your Genies, or it could be your Amazon Qs. I don't know what you use, or web apps. You can use any of those that can be integrated very easily and rapidly with this blueprint. In fact, what we did is we put across this entire thing with the metadata intelligence. And I wanted to open up a planner that shows the execution plan from a metadata perspective. So if you see this metadata, the metadata tells about like which system it contains. Where is the system located? Is it an Oracle system, or is it going to be in a Databricks environment? And the metadata provides the entire knowledge that's been built to tell you the customer, to tell the orchestrator, where should I go for this information? What should I get it from for the filter conditions? So metadata is the starting point, and then it goes to the actual repository to fetch the information itself. I can keep going and going on this ones. I love this because I've been working on it for like last 20 months now. So if there are any questions, definitely ask us. But most importantly, right, what we did to make it easy for you is, all of them is a quick, no code, low code. I did not write a code. I didn't have to write a single line of code on this one. That's the beauty of it. Everything is based upon, as you saw, the plan. The planner works with what we call as a CAI, the Cloud Application Integration, fully based upon REST APIs and connectors with Databricks, with JDBC connectors with Databricks. So all the vector stores will fetch the data from the individual data store repositories, but the metadata is available through a vector store within the Databricks environment for us to fetch this information. That's the end of the demo. But all the deployed versions of it are available as recipes or temporary templates in our AI agent engineering in the services. And you can quickly go to the IDMC framework. When you have IDMC, you can click on it, which framework, which template you need, deploy it, and you customize it based upon your organization needs, and you can start utilizing it. That's exactly the advantage of what we made it to work with the entire data management layer itself. Rick?
Great. Thanks, Ajay. And that demo, if you want to see more of that, you can come by our booth. We have a pretty big setup on the expo floor. There are a lot of cool prompts you can do. I like playing around with it and see if I can break it all the time. It's a lot of fun. It's actually really robust, and it's a good example, though. I hear from a lot of customers, how do I do multi-source RAG chain effectively? And it actually is going to be a challenging problem if you don't have the right metadata foundation. So metadata is kind of key there. Okay, just kind of wrap things up, and we'll definitely take some questions. So start thinking of those. Do you have them? Actually, these sessions already happened.
They're recorded.
They're recorded. Okay, good. All right. Sorry. So these are two other sessions we did this week here at Databricks Data and AI Summit. Again, one of them focuses on master data in a much more detailed, in-depth view of what that all entails. And then also we talked about governance cataloging. How do we integrate with Unity Catalog? And what are the benefits of using our cloud data governance and catalog together with Unity? And you can scan these QR codes for recorded sessions. Also, if you want to learn more, we do actually have a free service starter point for data integration, data pipelines. It's on the Partner Connect. You can also just visit our website, learn more about all the great solutions we have together with Databricks, and also our latest announcements which actually I believe are coming out in a few minutes, I think, all right, at market close. So you'll see our latest innovations with Databricks.